Hello, welcome to the show. It's episode 149. The date is Friday, the 10th of February. It's just gone 7 p.m. Sorry, we're a couple of minutes late because we were just having a brilliant chat with our guest, who I shall bring to you in just a moment. But before we do, we have to go through the usual rigmarole. You know, it's part of the process. It's what you pay for. Welcome to everybody that's watching the show live. Most of you, I guess, are watching on YouTube. So please do engage with us over in the YouTube chat. That would be fantastic. And if you're watching us on Twitch or Facebook or Twitter, because we're also broadcasting there, you can come and see us and message us there as well. We get all of those messages. Unfortunately, it doesn't cross post between the platforms, so but we'll highlight your stuff and we'll say hello. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're watching on catch up, then thanks for coming back to see us, because obviously you want to. That's really cool. And whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on catch up, you can still like the show by hitting that thumbs up button that's just under there somewhere. You can also leave super chat stickers with a little donation if you want to. Same with the thanks button if you're watching on catch up. Please do make sure that you also hit the like, subscribe, share button, and of course, leave your comments. If you want to make a comment and ask a question of one of us on the show tonight, then you can do so. If you wouldn't mind just popping a big capital Q in front of that for us, that just helps identify it. We don't hopefully miss your question, and we'll get to it at some point during the show. As I said before, we are on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube. Of course, Facebook is where you can find the ProSynth Network Facebook group. Please do come along and join us there if you haven't already. If you click the join button, it automatically asks you 3 questions. And as long as you answer those questions, and they're really, really simple questions just to prove you're human, then, of course, you'll come straight in and you can interact with everyone else that's there. If you want to buy merchandise, it's kind of a slow process at the moment, but apparently it's still being made. Vipergraphics.co.uk, where you can buy T-shirts, hoodies, polo shirts, and I think that's about it at the moment. So yeah, you can do that. And let me think, what else have we got? I think that's pretty much it. That's all of the formalities out of the way. So welcome to everyone in the chat. I won't say hi to you all because there's so many of you. But before we get to our very special guest this week, who I'm super excited about having on the show, because we've been trying to get this lady on for a long time. She's very backwards in coming forwards, maybe is the term. Let's bring in my fellow co-hosts. First of all, Mr. Ben Simpson, how are you? You're muted, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, there he is.
Aha! I muted it before. I'm well, thanks, and I'm having a little break from gigging for a couple of weeks, and concentrating on the studio, and got some boxes in the background for Vicky's birthday, which is on Tuesday.
Happy birthday, Vicky! Cool stuff. But
Yeah,
you've had a good week so far, yeah?
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had some good news we'll talk about later on. Yeah.
Oh,
cool
yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Nice
it's
one.
been a week. Yeah.
Lovely. It's been a week indeed. Let us also bring in, he's finally decided to show his face. Let's bring in Mr. Ken Spong.
What a lovely welcome. Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
And how are you this fine evening?
Not too bad now. I've been in a darkened room.
What, more dark than the one you're in at the moment?
Yeah, much darker, with an ocular migraine.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I'm lucky I don't get the pains. I just get the... I can't see anything. I'm just staying in one place before I break something.
Oh, that's no good. Because you've been up to your proverbials, haven't you, in work this week at least, I know for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Anything fun? Anything else explode and go on fire?
Well, I'm putting a new Viper Graphics front panel thingy on a matrix expander.
Oh, you mean Sweet Discrete, not Viper Graphics?
Yeah, not...
Yeah.
Vector Graphic from...
Sweet Discrete.
Sweet Discrete. I'll get it right in the end.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
The migraine's going. It will wear off. I'll remember my name in a minute. And that's been a joy.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty straightforward. Well, you just have to do the work. There's no diagnostics like the Matrix 12 that's down there, which has got 70 volt going to the CPU. That can't be good.
Can't be good.
Cannot be good.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll get some more of this technical talk because our special guest this week is probably. I don't know. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say it because I know that when we were speaking, arranging to get the show, our guest was a little bit intimidated by Mr. Spong.
Rubbish.
And I get that he has that effect on people. It's the smell, but he's no more or no less as good as any other synth tech. And this lady is probably the finest synth tech on the west coast of the United States, or at least one of them. She's a big fan of synthesizers and music technology. She's got a huge career working with probably the largest technology manufacturer in the world. More of that later on. But it is the one and only Allie Cassidy. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Let's give you a round of applause.
There you go.
I've been trying to get you on this show for a long while, so I'm really happy that you finally made it to us.
Well, it's absolutely brilliant to be here. No idea what to expect, but I'm absolutely delighted to be on the show.
We'll be gentle.
Yeah.
So, you're sort of like in the San Francisco area?
Yeah, Cupertino.
No,
part
Cupertino.
of, part of Silicon Valley.
So I wonder where you might work.
It's a kind of fruit company.
It's a fruit-based company,
It's a
yeah.
fruit-based company. But before we get onto the synthesizer stuff, you've been with Apple for, what, quarter of a century now?
Since 1995, coming up on 28 years.
Wow. Yeah. And what is it exactly that you do? Obviously, I know you can't tell us a huge amount of stuff because, NDAs and all that. But give us a flavour of what you do over at Apple.
So I'm a senior engineering manager in the hardware test organization. I'm originally a firmware engineer, professionally, and I'm responsible for a lot of the software that lands in factories around the world.
Okay.
To give an example, like not everybody knows this, but if you take the iPhone production line, it's actually made up of a lot of Apple Mac computers, and we run software on those that test the product as it goes down the line.
Okay.
These lines can be, if you strung them end to end, it's something I think on the phone is something like 60 something miles long.
Wow.
So that's kind of the flavor of what we do.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Well, look, we'll forget about that because that's not why we've got you here. Clearly, as we can see in your shot, you're surrounded by some wonderful gear, some of which we'll come and talk to you about in a while. Your accent gives it away that you're not a native San Franciscan. Where do you hail from, and how did you get where you are today?
Oh God! So I'm originally from Dublin, Ireland. I grew up in Dublin in the 70s. Got into music there through a very strange route. Emigrated to the US in 98, came back in 2000, returned again in 2006, and have stayed here since.
Wow.
So that's kind of my story. I'm an Irish dub that's been transplanted into the Bay Area. And somehow all this happened.
And all that happened. Well, so how did that start to happen? What were your first dabblings in electronic music and synthesizers and all that kind of stuff?
Well, that's an easy one. So like in the 70s, right, in the late 70s, I was watching television like any other kid. I would have been about 12 years old. And this show came on where there was kind of like a teal-colored alien. And everybody's immediately, anybody who's in the UK is going to go, oh, I know what that is. And they were playing a soundtrack with it that was this kind of driven, kind of automotive kind of beat thing going on. And I had no idea what it was. Yeah. But like I raced for my cassette recorder and stuck it up by the TV and recorded this amazing soundtrack, and around about the same time, of course, I eventually realized that Kraftwerk Autobahn, right? But
yeah.
Around about the same time, there was a TV show run by this kooky astronomer guy who talked about the billions and billions. And again, everybody's going to immediately know what that is.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack caught my heart and just kind of like left me in tears, and that turned out to be Vangelis' Heaven and Hell. And suddenly I realized there was a world out there of music that I didn't ever hear before. I didn't understand. So later on, as I was a teenager, I got to hear, Speak and Spell came out, and Tubeway Army, Gary Newman, and I was like dived headfirst into that.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. So that's the music side. The technological side was I grew up because my family was in the clothing industry, so we were in the rag trade.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, I had small hands. So my dad actually ran the business. He started in his back garden. So I was actually building sewing machines and fixing sewing machines. And I was at the same time watching my grandfather repairing washing machines and clocks. So I got this kind of a technological penchant, and then went into college. I started in Carlow RTC, which is I guess a polytech or a technical college, in '86, and graduated in 1989 or something like that. But at the same time all that was going on, I decided I wanted to get into music. So I took myself off to Capel Street in Dublin, and I bought Yamaha DX27. So a 4-op, not even a 6-op, right? And I was going to be the next Thomas Dolby with that thing, So, that was all going to happen, right? So
yeah.
Soon after, blowing 2 weeks of my first pay on this odd-looking gadget with a tiny little window in it, you program this thing with the slide, So I realized I wasn't going to cut it, and being impoverished, I started buying broken synths and repairing them, and then selling them and stepping up my ante and going on like that.
Nice.
So one of the first synths I bought was another absolute behemoth of polyphonic synthesis on our quartet. So I realized I wasn't going to cut it either. So I repaired that and sold it, and things took off from there. I ended up falling in with a bunch of folks that brought me in a direction of music. Shout out to Davey Swain and Steve Collins. They're still around and recording under the name Serga, so they're still around.
Okay, cool.
And Steve had a habit of buying synths that were broken, and he had a fair amount more money than we did. So he ended up getting I think the third or fourth synth I ever repaired was a Jupiter 8. And it's wow. I look back and it's oh my God, I didn't know what I was doing. And that's how it started. Went to college. I fixed a lot of synths through the 90s. That there's a OB8 in the background there that I'd had since 98 that showed up broken. That Synthex I bought. There's a story there. That Synthex. So back in the day, we have Reverb today, and we've got eBay, and we've got all these other sites that sell synths. Back then, you didn't. There was nothing. There was barely internet. So we had a newspaper called Buy and Sell. Folks from Ireland will go, oh yeah, I remember that. Somebody put up this instrument, there was a studio in Mullingar that they were clearing out, and there was a broken, we don't know what this thing is. It's called an Elka Synthex or something. It's broken. I was okay, all right. I get on the phone. I call my buddy Dave from the band. I was dude, get your car. I didn't have a car. So I ended up trading it for a fully perfectly working Kawai K1. So I reckon they got the better deal there because theirs was working and this was not. Yeah. So all those years later, what is it, 30 years? Synthex still there.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's the story. And things took off from then.
Yeah. So tell us about Synthetic Dreamscapes, because that's your company that you, I guess, is that your hobby? Is it spare time kind of thing? Because, you're sort of juggling this and the day job, yeah?
Yeah, it's my real vocation. It's where my heart is. If I could pay the rent without my day job, I would do this full time. Yeah. So the day job keeps me busy. Back about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, my son, he was then 12. Actually, he's nearly 18 now. Wow. He started expressing interest in this, and so I started repairing instruments again. I'd get them off a Reverb or whatever, and I'd start fixing them. and he really took to it. So he's a better solderer than I am, and I'm 30-something years at this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this 12-year-old kid took to it. So we started up. We're co-owners, if you like, and we started up doing this and repairing them, and things actually just like ran out of control, with the result that like I have a queue at the door with people coming in with like Prophet VSs under their arms and stuff like that. And that's what happened, and it took off from there.
Yeah.
So it's my vocation.
Yeah, because you were telling me a couple of days ago that you got something like a 6-month backlog now.
Yes, everybody does. Every
Yeah.
tech has a 6-month backlog. It's simple as that.
How's your backlog, Kent?
I've got a 6-month waiting list.
Wow.
And probably a 2-year backlog here at the moment. It's just ridiculous.
How many synthesizers did you take out to your workshop yesterday? Tell the ladies and gentlemen how many you
What,
took
out the front room?
Yeah, out the front room.
48. And the GS1s are still in the front room.
Wow.
And how did you get Tiny into the house?
When he come to the door, what I had to do is move the CS80 on the trolley back to the middle door to open the front door so he could get in, close the door, push him up against the front door, move the 80 back and to the side so we could open the middle door so he could come through into the front room.
It's like one of those puzzles, isn't it, where you have to move things around to yeah.
Yeah. And he said he goes, and this happened to be the only time that I was busting for the loo when I got to the door.
I'm assuming that's Brad from Either Instruments there. He's got a massive load of stuff in his workshop. Do you remember, was it last year, took a massive studio buyout. He just bought all of this stuff to kind of repair and move on. So yes, we know how you feel. I mean, I had some guy around today doing pat testing and just sort of moving stuff around, and the missus is always going on a bit about the fairlights in the garage. So yeah, it's a kind of a common occurrence here. So yeah, we've got a question here actually, Ali, for you straight. Well, we'll throw you in at the deep end here. Jason Crouch wants to know, what's the craziest thing you found when opening up a synth? And goes to you as well, Kemp.
All right, I can take that.
Go on then.
Maybe not the craziest, but like about 2 weeks ago, I got in here Korg Mini Pop 7. Like the Jar Oxygen drum machine, and it was filled with what can only be described as like 40-year-old cat pee.
Oh.
And I discovered that after I took it apart. I was like, something's not right here. So you get a lot of cat pee, you get a lot of rat poop. This is all very exotic. Wow. And every so often, just as a reward, you get a baggie of like 50-year-old weed.
Yeah.
Excellent. Mature weed. Lovely. Awesome. Kent, what about you? What's the weirdest thing you found in something you've opened up?
The most innocuous thing I've ever found is a single brown shoe inside a Cool Monopoly.
A single brown. What type of shoe? Was it a brogue?
No, it was just a lace-up thing. It was, but it was just the one, and it was just laying on the baseboard, and it's like, but why?
Strange. Yeah.
Mind you, like I say,
soul music in it.
Yeah.
That deserves a.
Go on.
There we go. Soul music.
But no, CS80 is always plectrums, but there's cheese sandwiches, gold watches, just stuff that you thought, why? So yeah,
brilliant.
But cat pee.
Yeah. When I opened up
rat crap and all that, I plenty of that.
When I opened up Ian Stanley's Fairlight, there was an accumulation of what can only be described. I'm assuming beard trimmings. It was hair. There was lots of hair, balls of it, just ugh. But my colleague in Australia actually opened one up, and there was a dead mouse. Not the dead mouse.
Oh,
a dead mouse.
Yeah.
That had expired at the back, chewing through something or other. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Never had the good fortune of finding a baggie of anything useful or medicinal. But yeah.
Oh, you can't when it's 40 years old. You can't use it.
Can you not? I don't know.
No,
I'm
I
not
tried.
like-
It's very hard to light. Don't ask me how I know that.
Yeah.
I'll
do
give
you
it a
do
good go, though.
Yeah. Come
Yeah,
on.
mind you, then I'll go up quick.
Mix it up with a bit of old Hoban, you'll be fine.
You just
Surely.
like it like that.
Oh, dearie dear.
Ali,
Right.
just a quick question. When you got the Synthex, what was wrong with her? Was it a voice out?
Yeah, one of the voice boards was down.
Yeah.
I never got the chance to dig into it, so I used to play it in bitimbral mode and knock down one half of it, and it was 4-note poly, and that's kind of the way I ran it for literally decades. So at the moment, it's in for restoration. But to get back to the shoe comment again, there's the saying that the shoemaker's kids go barefoot. So I haven't touched it. It's in bits. I'm working on it, but it's at the bottom of the shoe.
Yeah.
So,
Well, while I remember it, if it's only the one voice, because they're dual voices on each card, aren't they? But if the voice has gone out, 9 times out of 10, it's the 74 LS 193. Make a note of that. She's up.
Good to know.
She's up.
Yeah.
Up the end of the card near where the LEDs are.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be almost certainly be one of them.
I'll give it a look next time. And
Yeah,
just
they're
be
little
off,
buggers for going over. They are.
Ben, Ben, do you feel like a bit of a spare part?
Oh no, I know what they're on about. I know what
Do
they're
you?
on about.
Do
Yeah,
you?
yeah, they're on about the thingy.
Well, we got a lot in common. You know? I mean, we're both
Well,
Irish.
absolutely.
We're both
Well,
Irish.
yes, there is an Irish connection there, isn't
Yeah,
there?
and there is a danger that if we were both went into the
Ooh.
there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
Synthex voice card.
you
there
realise
you
that
go.
if we both went into the same room at the same time, we'd cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
We just
So
gone.
I need because people are talking about Allie's background there, because I'm not talking the background, the actual physical background. What's behind this lovely lady? So give us a bit of a guided tour of what's going on there, because
Sure.
there's some amazing stuff.
So obviously Synthex on its side at the back there. There is a 2-voice. One of Tom's 8, I think he made there in 2022. So it's actually got the Oberheim sticker on it. Lots and lots of blue stuff.
Yes.
In the corner, there is a clear PPG Wave 2.3. That's actually Bob Coover's from the amazing company
yes.
Groove Synthesis. So
Yeah.
Bob dropped that up to me here, and he actually took mine. So this is Bob's, and mine is gone. And the other blue object at the top is a Waveterm B. And the one below that is a somewhat unusual PPG EVU. So that's, again, it's like a wave in a box. It's got MIDI on it. And you can pretty much treat it like a module and load up PPG sounds into it. So
Didn't know they existed.
yeah, they're a big rare beastie.
Yeah.
Under that is a Mulogic Slave 32, which is another kind of rare beastie. And that's number 2 of 25.
Wow.
Under that, Prophet VS. Under that is a Wave Station AD. And under that is a ESQM, modified for the SQ80 wavetables.
Nice.
And then a Synergy over here. Oberheim OBXA. Trident Mark II. Expander, subsequent 37 CV. And a CR78 with MIDI. And then on the floor, there's just like an untold amount of crap.
Whoa, look at that.
Gah.
Oh wow.
That's a Quadra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quadra, 909, a heap of junk. And then this actually, the black synth is really unusual because it's actually called Shinko Adonis 7700, and everybody's going like, what is that?
Yeah.
So there are only 2 of them that I've heard of around the place. One of them was bought recently from Japan by Brandon Rogers. Shout out to Brandon. It's a prototype, so it's full of Vero board, which is like pretty terrifying. The other instrument belongs to Soundgas, and they'd heard that I had Brandon's, and that it got it mostly working. So they sent theirs. So there's 2 Shinko Adonai in the workshop here at the moment.
Can I thank you for that?
Which
Can I
the
thank
Adonai?
you for that? Yeah, because he called me and had asked me to work on it. I'm going, I don't know, I've got enough on, mate. Thanks. So, thank you.
You might have dodged the bullet there, I think.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I was just trying to find a picture of said machine. There you go.
That's the one.
That's the Soundgas one, yeah.
Yeah. It's here with me at the moment.
And you said before we came in, it had a kind of a Roland SH5 vibe going on, didn't it? In terms of the looks.
It does. On the inside, it kind of doesn't, which is odd. So I was like, oh yeah, no big deal. Like I have the SH5 schematics here to be identical, and it's like, oops, no, it's not. So fun times. These will be working. They're already currently around about, I'd say 75-80% working.
Cool.
And the rest of the work to be done on this is going to be electromechanical, which actually means taking the panel apart. All of the sliders have to come off the panel, and they're all like held on with tiny little screws. And then the sliders are unique in that instrument, and they're riveted together. So you have to get your stupid Dremel, unrivet a gajillion sliders, take them all apart, put them all back together with tiny little like M2 size screws, clean it, put it. So it's all like drudgery from here.
God.
Yeah, but then you have the satisfaction, don't you? Of hopefully when it starts working again, there's always a good feeling. Yeah.
But it is literally, isn't it? But it's sort of like that. For the irresistible scent of a woman, Shinko Adonis.
The irresistible scent of 40-year-old cat pee and stale weed. That's the glamorous world of being a synth repair tech.
There is a thing. I mean, forget cat pee aside. There is a thing about the smell of old electronics, isn't there? It is kind of intoxicating.
Yes.
And each different thing has a slightly different aroma, and you can almost identify, can't you? I mean, I can smell a Fairlight a mile off, a warm Fairlight. It's unlike anything else. It's something. It's like that new car smell. It's kind of similar, but there's a different thing because they use slightly different plastics, or they might use slightly different. There is a thing. I'll stand by that.
It's probably toxic outgassing, and we're all getting poisoned slowly. But what a way to go, right?
Yeah, exactly. It probably accounts for a lot of things. We did have another question for you. I think we sort of part answered this, but this is from Adrian Smith Music. How did you first get into electronics and soldering originally? Because soldering for me is just like one of the most soul-destroying things because I'm not very good at it. And I know that if I get it wrong, I could cause a lot more damage than I'm trying to fix. So, where did that kind of skill emerge from?
Oh, so if you're... where do I start? I started soldering when I was 12, putting computers together. So I'd got myself a... Hold on a minute.
Go on then. I love guests like this. Oh, you had one of them?
Yeah. Wow.
Me and my uncle put one of those together, and I was 10.
Right.
Yeah.
So people are now getting especially everybody in the UK is suddenly getting hugely nostalgic for Sir Clive Sinclair and all that goodness that was like the ZX80, the 81, and the Spectrum. So me being on a budget, I couldn't afford to get the fully built ZX80, so I got the kit. And my dad ended up bringing me into town, and anybody who's from Dublin here will get this straight away. I went to Pete's Electronics in Parnell Street, and it was like the only game in town. And I got the jankiest soldering iron you've ever seen on the planet. Somehow, with the cord that jiggles, and we all know these ones, right?
Yeah.
No regulation, no nothing. And I somehow put the ZX80 together, and it somehow got working. So that was the beginning.
Awesome stuff.
From there.
Fantastic. So, yeah, I remember my uncle was he wanted to be an RAF pilot and then couldn't because his vision failed, and so then he got into he was really into his electronics and computing, and he didn't have any children of his own at the time. His older sister, my mum, did. That was me. And I was fascinated with computers. And when that ZX80 came out, which was around 1980, so I was about 10 years old, I remember going around his, and I was like handing him the parts, and he was putting it together. And then it was that wonderful thing of like, it's all finished now, turn it on, and nowadays we'd just be like, oh. But then it was just like, here's a computer, 10 print Rob, 20 go to 10. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing. That was a fantastic time. There was somebody who's paying you a compliment, and I'm sure there's many. Neil Kaiser, Ali fixed my CR78 and added the Torntec MIDI. I feel like I won the lottery getting her time to work on it. There you go. And there was something else. I think Andy Synthetic, one of our moderators in the chat. I haven't read this. I'm just sticking on there. What's your? Because he's close to you. He's in California as well. So you're in the south, sort of Cupertino area. So Andy, that helps. I don't know how close or far you are, but what's your repaired lead time? I mean, obviously we mentioned you got a bit of a backlog there, but 6 months at the moment,
at least, to be honest.
Yeah.
So the way it is these days, like I'm doing like basically like 10, 11, 12-hour work days at my day job.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I have a chance to get to do this is on the weekends or taking days off like I did today to chat with you guys. So it's I have to be super picky because there's not enough hours in the day.
No, absolutely. Well, look, I mean, we'll put your website up in a moment, and maybe Andy can talk to you and you can figure something out. But I know he's local to you, so Andy's got a metric shit ton of gear, and I'm sure a lot of it. He's 5 miles away. Apparently, he could walk to you. He could, and he probably would. He's very good with carpet as well.
Oh, he's excellent.
That's an inside joke, by the way.
Yeah.
He's very he did some stuff for us walking around Synthplex and stuff, and a lot of the time his camera was pointing down at the floor, so we got to see lots of expensive carpet and not a lot.
We were critiquing the carpets.
We ended up doing carpet reviews. No, it's fantastic.
Lovely bit of Backminster.
Yes, it was fantastic. Brad from Either Instrument says, fancy taking 2 weeks off and coming to Florida to repair some of those synths. He's got a few.
I've seen the kind of load of stuff he's got, and I'm like, oh my god, I'd have to be there for a year.
I know,
to get his
but it's
back
Florida, and it's with Brad, because Brad's a pretty cool dude. In fact, Brad, if you are watching, we want you on this show. Get your people to call my people. We want you on this show. I want to know what an English guy is doing in Florida, making a awesome machine like the S2400. It's just brilliant. I can't wait to be able to afford to get one, which might actually be sooner than I first thought. But yeah, Brad, get in touch. But yes, follow Brad's YouTube and Instagram stuff. He's got some amazing stuff on there. Oh, look at that instant response, brilliant. Email me. I'll figure something out. We'll get in touch. I want you on the show. Right.
That's one of the easier ones.
Yes, I know. Although we have got some doozies, hopefully, in the pipeline. We won't say because I don't want to jinx it anymore. I've done that before, and we've jinxed it. But yeah, fantastic. Right, okay. Let's see. I'll tell you what. What's the time now? We're sort of like 35 minutes into the show. Let's give Ali a bit of a breather. We'll come back to you. You're not off the hook yet. But I just want to mention a couple of things. First of all, last night at 10 p.m. UK time, the Alan R. Perlman Foundation did one of their first archives broadcasts for 2023, and it was this wonderful thing. I'm not going to play too much of it because Dina will slap me with a cease and desist copyright strike type of thing. But it was a conversation with the legend that is Herbie Hancock, and Dina had the opportunity to sit down and talk with Herbie online, and it's a fascinating conversation. And you can go and find that on the Alan R. Perlman Foundation YouTube channel. Yes, it was recorded. I think that date's slightly wrong. Hang on a minute. Let me just look at. I don't mean to be picky, but what was that? Didn't it say October 2023? It was in the future. She's travelled forward. Look at that. See that? What was it? Making it up. Yeah. So go and check that out. Please do. And I was just going to think, is there some more graphics here? Probably best if I just take that off now, just in case we get a copyright strike. I'm sure Dina will. Yeah. Look, go and watch it. It's fantastic. It's fascinating. It's about an hour, just over an hour long, of Dina talking to Herbie, who, you know, is, if you don't like Herbie Hancock, get out. Yeah, you're insane. The guy is an absolute legend, and he's played with some of my favourite machines. Who cannot forget Sesame Street with Tatiana Ali and the Fairlight, which was a brilliant moment. And then there was another thing. If you go on YouTube and search Herbie Hancock DX7, there he is rocking out a DX7, making the DX7 sound just incredible, which of course it always would do. But yeah,
doesn't sound too good when I've got one.
No, me either. But yeah, so Alan R. Perlman Foundation, go and check out their YouTube channel. There's more content coming throughout the year on the archive scene. Of course, Ali, you've had a lot of time working with and for Dina doing stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'd be delighted to. So I've known Dina for a few years now, actually. She's an amazing person. We're pretty good friends. But I'm a huge fan of the Alan R. Perlman Foundation, particularly the ARPS for All initiative, where she's taking like instruments that might not be available to people like who want to get into music. They're just beginning. They're carving out space and time in the Record Co. in Boston, and they're putting in ARP synthesizers there for people to take some time and to use and to record. And I think it's a brilliant idea. So to that end, some of the stuff I've done is I've donated ARP Omni 2, an Odyssey, and that Quadra that's on the floor there is next. So huge fan of theirs. And to folks out there, if you've got any ARP instruments that you'd like to donate to the foundation to have people use and kids coming up into the industry, please do. I'd say get contact with Dina.
Yeah.
If it's an ARP 2500, talk to me first, okay?
Yeah, I'll just have a quick look under the carpet. Oh, look, there's an ARP 2500. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great cause, and I think it's great that gathering all of these instruments together in one place and then making them accessible to anyone, basically, whether you're an artist or a young person just wanting to dabble. It's a really good thing. Because you've been on some of Dina's broadcasts as well, haven't you?
I have, actually, yeah, with twice, I think now. One was the Odyssey Tech Talk, and then the year before was the ARP 2600 Tech Talk, which two other synth greats that I have to give a shout out for, Rob Rosen and the other Alison Stout, two like absolute wondrous technicians. So I was honoured to be in their presence.
Well, you are their equal easily. Dina Perlman's Alan R. Perlman Foundation. Do go and check that out. Go and check the website out. Buy some merchandise. Buy a calendar. There's a great calendar this year. If you can stump up for a T-shirt or anything else, please do. And if you have any old ARP instruments that are sitting around feeling lonely, then do get in touch. And if you just get in touch directly with Dina, of course you can get in touch with Allie at Synthetic Dreamscapes. You can get in touch with us. We'll happily hook you all up. So that was that. And of course, on the other side of the daughters of legendary synthesizer developers and inventors, we've got the Bob Moog Foundation, who have just announced their latest raffle, which is to win a vintage Mini Moog signed by none other than the legend that is Geddy Lee. And there it is. It's I can't remember what year that one is, but it's been restored by, is it Jared or Jareth? I can't remember his name now.
Jareth
Lackey, yeah, that's it. Jareth Lackey, that's the one. So it's been fully restored. It obviously, as you can see from the image on the screen, let me just zoom in on that a little bit here. It's in a lovely kind of used state. It has patina, I think is what they say on the Antiques Roadshow, something like that. But it looks amazing. It sounds amazing. It's had a full restoration job on it, and of course it has been signed on the rear by Geddy himself with that classic line from Tom Sawyer on the back there. And it's also got Kevin Leitner's Opto Key MIDI upgrade on there as well. So look at that, MIDI in and out on the Mini Moog. If you want to stand a chance of winning this machine, all you've got to do is literally click that big button there, enter to win. It will take you to the sales site where you can buy a single ticket for just a mere $25. If you're in the UK, that's about 20 quid. But the more tickets you buy, the cheaper it becomes. So you can buy blocks of 5, 12, or even 35 tickets if you really want to increase your chances. I think there's something in the region of it's about 10,000 tickets. As soon as those tickets are sold out, the raffle ends, or it will end on the 27th of February, whichever comes sooner. Then it is drawn, and if you are the lucky winner, doesn't matter where you are in the world, they will ship it to you. You will have that Mini Moog be yours to keep and play with and do whatever you want with. And of course,
good in here, that
it would. But yeah. I hate to break this, but I actually bought the winning ticket the other day. So I'm sorry, but just donate anyway. But of course, all the proceeds go to the Bob Moog Foundation, which also does a similar kind of educational thing with Dr. Bob's Sound School, which again introduces kids to electronic music making. So both great causes, both fantastic ladies, both just brilliant human beings, and great organisations that we should all support in any way that we can. So yeah, that's those two things taken care of. Shall we have a bit of a laugh?
Yeah.
So okay. Well, this is a very ironic laugh. We do give this company a bit of stick, but I think that every little bit of stick we give it is completely and utterly justified, even more so every time they release a new product. Can you guess what I'm talking about? Yes, it's the brand new Teenage Engineering Field Desk, which retails for, I believe, 1,599 British pounds.
Flipping heck, man.
Now, if I wanted a wallpaper pasting table, I'd go down to B&Q. But
it's got a trough at the side for your pens, though.
Your pens won't roll off the table.
Yeah,
it's a space truss constructed from recycled aluminium, or for our American friends, aluminum, and I assembled with double-sided Formica birch plywood. Hello, IKEA. Have you had a robbery lately? Field Desk is our very own modular workspace. It's everything it needs to be, and nothing it doesn't. Even their marketing is. I'm sorry. I just don't know. Our office is made up of people doing a variety of tasks, each with their own needs. Since we love to build things, we decided to create our own modular work environment. Yeah, there you go. That's that right there is what your $1,600 will get you.
It looks like Meccano.
Put a CS80 on there.
Quite. I mean, look, attention to detail. Yes, it looks lovely, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh, but really, I mean, it's glorified Meccano. Look at that.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I just think I don't know.
Go on.
I can repeat.
I said in the group that I thought it was an April Fool. That they've started off early because even 250 quid is pushing it for that. That amount of money for that. I don't see how they can justify that at all.
Yeah.
Unless it is some kind of wind up, because they're not going to sell any. Nobody is anybody interested in this, because I just don't see why unless you're just insane and just think, I can get this from IKEA for 40 odd quid or
less.
I'll spend 1,500 quid on it instead. Why?
I mean, this is what you get for your 1,600, whatever it is. There you get the top, okay, and then you get that. Yeah. Which is what 11 or 12 pieces of aluminium and some connectors,
keys and screws included.
I should really hope so.
They've got to be taking them. They've got to be.
We also offer custom interiors for your workplace. Yeah, you're going to bankrupt the workplace just by fitting out with. I mean, look, yeah, they're probably engineered within an inch of their life, but really, I mean, it's. What are they smoking in Sweden?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a table. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know.
And recycled aluminium. It's not even like non-recycled. You'd expect to get genuine first time round aluminium for that price, you know.
It is. It's.
I'm waiting for the teenage engineering butt plug.
Yeah, but that's going to be about $2.5 grand.
It'll be overly expensive. Nobody can afford it, and when you stand up, it falls out anyway because it's too tiny.
Oh, there's a picture I'm not going to get out of my head tonight.
Wow.
Dear. I'm going to have to drink a lot to get rid of that.
The teenage engineering butt plug looks like a Tic Tac.
Oh, dear me.
We are rapidly going downhill.
Yeah.
Okay.
I honestly don't know. Look, people criticise other companies, and we shan't mention names. One of their employees is in the bottom left-hand corner for like over-engineering, over-designing. You know, it's kind of digital trinket kind of thing. I'm sorry, but these lot are really taking the biscuit. I mean, I know that we took the mickey out of what's it, the TX6, the tiny little cigarette packet-sized mixer. And then Ty gets one and says, do you know what? As a mixer, it's actually really, really good. And I'm sure it is, but it's like stupidly expensive.
I'm not totally against that, though. I think, maybe I could use that.
It's got some stuff going for it.
And if I want that kind of level of engineering, I've got to be prepared to pay the money. But this is just insanity, isn't it? It's got to be a wind-up. It's got to be.
You'd think. But I think every product release is a little bit more crazy than the last one, a little bit more derisible.
The choir was good. That was good.
Oh yeah, the wooden dolls.
Yeah, that was great.
They look more like your butt plugs.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they're just badged wrong.
True.
They did do a Polaroid camera as well, actually.
Did they?
For 70 quid, like, and it's actually not bad.
Okay.
But then they lost the plot.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm struggling to understand who's the market for this.
People with more money than anything.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
It's just odd. It's such an odd thing. I mean, if they'd have released that and said, "Hey, you can have a piece of teenage engineering design for $29.95," they will. Those things would fly out the door. But for 1,600 quid.
Even at $29.95, I'd be wondering whether I actually needed one or not. Though so at 1,500 quid, it's not even entered my head as a possibility. It's like,
well, for a company that essentially is known for doing music gear, they're providing a product to an industry that's not exactly overflowing with money.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
If they were distributing that through IKEA or upend IKEA, you'd understand it, or some Italian fashion furniture place or something like that,
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know.
1,599 quid. And in the main picture, it shows this little tray that sits off the side. Look at that! You can even have a field notebook for 12 quid.
30 quid for a bottle.
I know. It's just what the hell are people think? Actually, what it did prompt, as it always does with teenage engineering stuff, is it prompted some great memes. And this I thought was the best one. The field. For 99,599.
It'd be well more than that. Yeah.
If you want the grass to go on it, it's another 10,000.
I bet that bottle's empty because they've already taken the piss out of it.
There we go. Oh dear. That is an odd one. That's a really odd one.
Yeah. Strange.
If you want to buy a teenage engineering field table, teenageengineering.com is the website. Go and fill your boots.
What I find with Teenage Engineering is that like a lot of their products seem like ridiculous at first glance. You know, like that mixer, and then like Ty saying it was good, and those that choir thing, the doll thing, that seemed just bonkers at first. But then the more I looked into it, it was like, I could have a bit of fun with this. I'm not prepared to pay that kind of money. This one, I can't see it. I mean, unless these attachments that they've got planned are like something amazing, I just don't get this one at all.
No, maybe there's just a market for this kind of thing now. I mean, Fiona yesterday, she went to buy a new toaster because our one exploded, and well, they do, don't they? And she said they had a transparent toaster there, and it was like 900 quid.
Oh yeah.
For you go, what? So you know how brown the toast is, and you can pop it yourself. And it's like, why? and £900, and yet there they are. Therefore, there must be some sort of a market for them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we all know what a toaster does. We all know how a toaster does what it does. But on the other hand, how many of us have thought, is it done yet? I don't want to overdo it because I like my toast just right. And you pop it 2 or 3 times. Whereas if you can see into it, it's like, there it is.
Is that worth 900 quid though? That convenience.
Which means you're now staring at your toaster in the morning.
I know. I don't stare at much in the morning because my eyes are like sealed.
Just get the control just where you need it. You practice it, and eventually you get it just
that's
where it
it.
needs to be.
You find your find your groove, don't you?
Yeah.
Basically.
You don't need to get a glass toaster.
No. Yeah, of course it couldn't be plastic, could it?
No.
Anyway,
now you know why Rob isn't in engineering.
Exactly.
More toaster melted.
Yeah. So what can we say? Teenage Engineering. You've given us amusement, if nothing else. You've given us amusement.
Absolutely.
What else can we talk about? I know. Let's talk about this because Kent. I'm sure Ali. I don't know, Ali. Have you ever had a GS1 come through your workshop?
Where would you put it?
Well, no.
I put it out in the shed out the back.
Yeah.
The hole in the roof.
Best place for it, no.
Kent, how many have you had in the last 6 months? How many is it? 2 or 3 that have passed through?
In total, 3.
And some have gone and come back again, haven't they? They missed you.
They're very good at that. They're on elastic. Yeah.
How is the one that you set on fire? Well, no, it didn't. You didn't set it on fire. It set itself on fire.
Well, I was working on it when it caught fire, so it is kind of down to me.
Okay, fair enough.
So, yeah. Oh no, that is now booting up now.
Good.
Yeah, it's booting up. The card reader is wearing away, but backwards.
Okay.
So, we're getting close. Yeah.
Oh well, yeah,
No,
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's firing up anyway.
Nice.
It's such a strange thing, the GS1. I was like, because of what we're going to talk about in a minute, I was looking into it, and what these programming books? What? How does that work? It's quite
They're magnetic strips.
Are they?
Yeah.
All right.
They're basically they're mag stripes. So they're just strips of card with a magnetic coating on. Not unlike what you'd find on the back of a a credit card, back in the day.
Right.
And it just contains magnetic data, data encoded magnetically, and it sucks it in and then spits it out again, and then that data is dumped into one of the, is it 2 or 4 user slots on those? I can't remember now.
Wow.
16.
Oh, so you got 16 user slots.
Yeah, you got to load all the sounds in. Yeah,
okay.
But you put the card in, you put the ace side, the ace end, you put it into the card reader. It's drawn in, pulls out, then you turn the card around and do the B side. But it's either be 2 different sounds, or it could be one big sound. So
One big
bottom
sound.
keyboard and top of the
One big
keyboard.
All right.
Well, if anybody actually wants one of these, there's one for sale. It's from our friend Eric Norlander. This is his GS1, which has the MIDI retrofit on. So actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow up the pictures here. So
it looks in good nick, doesn't it?
It does. It does look in good. There's the little bit of wear and tear, but it's it's a 43-year-old machine now.
Yeah.
I love that it's like a car bonnet. That it's got those. one thing with big Yamahas is that they've all got really well thought out opening mechanisms, and they stay in where you want them to stay. So you've got a whole bunch of gubbins. I was looking at the let me think. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. So I was looking at the keyboard mechanism. That looked very, very similar to the DX1.
Identical.
Identical to the
It
DX1.
is, in fact. You could take that keyboard out and put it into a DX1.
Oh,
Even the
right.
after-touch sensors, they're all exactly the same. Yeah.
Ah, right, lovely. There you go. And so that's an amazing piece of engineering.
That
right
MIDI
there.
kit there, the way it integrates into the system is you disconnect all the cables from the computer to the keyboard,
Right.
and then run the new plugs from that to the keyboard, and that's it. So it's just note on, note off. It's
right.
all it does. Just
Well-
cuts in.
There is a picture of that, of the MIDI panel on this. So yeah, I mean, it's this amazing instrument that looks like something from an 18th century drawing room, but of course is probably it's Yamaha's first commercial FM synthesizer. I wouldn't say it's the first FM synthesizer. I think the Synclavier beat it by 2 years. But it's a wonderful thing, and it's in great condition. And there it is. There's the MIDI retrofit, which kind of bolts into the ventilation grill. So you have in, out, and through. Yeah. Then you can select one of 3 MIDI channels, a transmit or receive mode. So you can't do them both at the same time. It's one or t'other. And then I'm not entirely sure what this touch switch does. We've got two of the greatest synth techs alive at the moment. Can you tell us?
What's that done?
The touch switch. No idea. Can the touch switch on there?
You can have
FRS.
Yeah, it's fast or slow response.
Oh, okay. So it's touch response. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what about the program unlock and lock switch? Is that just programmed?
That's if you accidentally put a card into the reader and you didn't want, you wanted those sounds unblemished. That's literally you overwrite protect.
Yeah, right, protect, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, Eric's just because Eric is in the chat. Welcome,
Hey.
Eric. Velocity curve. Yeah. So that's what that switch is, and the MIDI kit was harvested from a GS2. So
the one downstairs, it's harvested from a GS2. Yeah, exactly the same way. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome stuff. Let's just finish going through some of these pictures. There's your serial plate, number 1116. I mean, I don't even know how many of these were made. Can't have been a lot, can it? Well, I know Steve Porcaro had 3.
Well, it probably started at 1,000, like the 80s did. The first one was serial number 1000, not 1.
Yeah.
I thought they'd only made like 100 of them or something.
Well, no, that's what I think. What Kent's saying is that serial number 1000 would have been the first one.
So
this is probably
that's
116.
number 116. Yeah. But the problem with these keyboards, and they will back me up on this, it's the worst nightmare for a tech, where the print on the boards is lots of it's incorrect and shows diodes in the wrong orientation, and then when you look at the schematics, they show them in a different orientation, and ICs that aren't in it are listed in the schematic but aren't in the synth. So if you follow the schematic, you'll blow it up, and if you follow the print on the board, you'll blow it up.
That's worse than having no documentation, Kent. It's having bad.
Yeah.
In fact, I had more success with it when I didn't have the schematics, because the schematics were given to me and they go, yeah, this will sort it all out. And then things started going wrong. And it was a little while before I went, hang on a minute. They're right.
So these are those magnetic strips, as Kent says. There's an A side and a B side, and they're multi-directional as well, aren't they? Do they go in? They can go in.
You load them. You can load in the A way or the B way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's a GS2 voice library there, because you can see it says there, and then it just tells you which strip has got which sound on, and in traditional Yamaha fashion, the performance notes tells you what it is, and then I guess these, this is the the GS1 wallet, with all of its stuff on there. And to program those sounds, you needed one of those massive, futuristic-looking. It's the incredible juxtaposition. The GS1 programmer looks like something off the Starship Enterprise, and this looks like it came out of Charles Dickens' front room. And it's just this weird thing. And there's literally like 2 or 3 programmers, and I think only one of them. Dr. Synth will know. Manny will know because I think he knows.
No,
where
Dire Straits have got one.
Dire Straits have got one.
Yeah, they just Mark Knopfler's still got the programmer for their one. Because he's got all his custom library, which the card reader nearly get.
Well, yeah, because that's the only way that you can get your own sounds is to have one of those. Yeah. Into one of because these are all preset machines. It's crazy. Yeah. Wow, you're going to have to get me into Mark Knopfler's house somehow. Can if I lost a bit of weight?
Show you where the front door is.
Well, if I lost a bit of weight, could you hide me inside the GS1 when you take it back?
Yeah, you know what? It wouldn't feel any heavier.
Thank you.
Because
I think.
No, these are heavier than CS80s.
If you've got one of them programmer things, can you print those strips out? So you can circulate your patches to other people.
But you'd need to create the strip, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, magstripe technology, it's decades old. It's still in use, though, which is I still find bizarre. I mean, my company, we sell, I work in the secure identity industry. We are still selling magstripe access control cards to companies that still think that magstripe access control is a good idea.
I got a book of blanks.
Wow. What, of these?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, book of blanks, mate. It's ridiculous. It is. But the best condition one and the best working one is the ex-Vangelis one, the Blade Runner one that was here. That needed almost nothing done to it, thank God. And thank God it wasn't that one that blew up. I would have punched myself in the face, I think. Yeah. I've done that in.
Crazy stuff. Well, there you go. Look, Eric Norlander's GS1. So not only is it a super rare synth, it's Eric Norlander's super rare synth, so that's going to give it a little bit.
Excellent.
But it is local pickup only. Go figure. Of course it is. All you need is a candelabra, isn't it? And then you're set. It's UK price is 24,622. I guess that I can't remember what the US price is, but it's probably going to be sort of like 25-30 US.
Eric, that's not far off. That is not far off a good price for that.
Yeah. According to Eric, those strips were made by Canon. So there you go. But yeah, Manny's in the chat talking about the programmer to the GS1. I think there's one at Karma in Stanford. Of course, it's where it should, where it belongs. Oh dear, yes. I get all.
But putting those legs and that lyre on is a nightmare. Such a big pain in the butt. It's unreal.
Didn't you, Ali, recently or at some point do Eric's TX816?
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Was that a long time ago, was it?
Yeah, like 5 years ago, I think.
Oh, wow.
That was actually when I met Eric for the first time.
Yeah.
He bought that from Reverb and showed up to pick it up, actually. So there is a story behind that. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell it, Eric. I'm going to tell it anyway. So James and I picked that up from a guy up in Berkeley, up in the East Bay. And he said, and I don't know about the provenance of this, right? But he said to me, I have this Yamaha synth, like it's got all of these little cards in the front. It's like TX81. So he said, how about do you want to buy it? I went up and looked at it, and he said, we're raising funds for the this theater that we have. I went to this theater actually, and I was up there on the floor, and the guy was frantically trying to make it work, and it wouldn't. So he's like, yeah, my friend gave it to me. He works in the music industry. His name is Roger. It's like, yeah, I probably know who Roger Lynn, he said. I was like, yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah, rings a bell.
So whether that's actually Roger Lynn's or not, but the guy told me that it was.
Wow.
So we brought it back, repaired it, and as it happens, it went to Eric Norlander. Couldn't think of a better home.
Well, no, exactly. Yeah, I just picked up one myself a few weeks ago, which had been lovingly restored by Synth Prof over here in the UK. Didn't have the Synclavier power supply upgrade that Andre put in, didn't he? Do you know Andre quite well?
I do know Andre.
Yeah, because
The
he's
first time I met
Intel,
him
isn't
in
he?
person was like about 4 or 5 years ago. I was in Jean-Michel Jarre had come to San Jose, and I just got super lucky. I got a front row ticket, so I'm sitting there like in the laser harp. It's just like here, and this guy comes running up to me and he's like, "Hey, it's great to meet you. My name is Andre. I live in Sacramento." I was like, "Oh, yeah." So that's the first time we met, and we just
Yeah.
purely met by chance at a Jarre concert.
Wow.
And since then, like he's just gone from strength to strength. He's like one of the best renowned techs for the CMI and other stuff. So
Yeah,
pretty
that's how
amazing
I know.
guy.
Yeah, that's how I know
exactly.
through that. Some of the stuff that he's done with Fairlights has been truly inspiring. He really knows his onions, but it's not just that. I saw some pictures of his studio a while back, and it's just incredible. And the amount of stuff that he's got in there that's just like, oh my god, you've got one of those. It's not just full of your regular stuff. And he's built like. He's taken Fairlight bits and built little Fairlights, mini like 2-voice Fairlights, which are just astounding. He's a very, very clever man. But he works for Intel, am I right? I think so. Like your Apple, he's Intel. Whoa. So anyway, Eric Norlander's GS1 is up for sale. Eric has confirmed the US price, 28.5. There you go. I was close-ish. But he has also let slip that he'll trade it for a field table. Brilliant, nice one, Eric. Of course, if you can't afford $28,500, that GS1, that actual GS1, is in IK Multimedia's Syntronic library of instruments. So if you can't afford the real deal, you can get the sound of it in Syntronic IK Multimedia's.
Sorry, is that part of the Syntronic library, or is it an extra sound library that you?
It's one of the because Syntronic is you can get like the basic version, can't you? I think it's a CS, and then you can add them in, or if you go the whole hog and buy the whole package, you can get it's all part of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Excellent.
but yeah, that's in there. Whilst we're at it, thank you very much, Wagyu, for 10 of your lovely Swiss chuffs. Thank you very much indeed. Right, there was a question here from Jason Crouch. I don't think we've had this one. What's the story on the synth or drum machine you've passed on adding to your collection, the one you regret the most passing up? So synthesizer or drum machine that you've said, nah, maybe not, and then you thought, damn, should have got that. What's yours, Ali? What's the one that you've had sort of let slip through your fingers?
There's nothing special, really, but there was one that was close to my heart. That was an SH-101 that I got broken back in the 80s, and when I couldn't pay my rent, sold it. And I deeply regret not having a 101. So it went to a friend, and the friend recently offered to sell it back to me at full market price. So I didn't. No. I'm looking for another broken one.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's perfect for somebody like yourself who can take one and do one. That the SH-101 is kind of like my keystone synth. I've probably said this 1,000 times before, but it was flicking through the pages of, I think it might have been a magazine called 1-2 Testing that we had over here in the UK back at the time. There was that advert of the young kid who looked a little bit like me, he kind of had this sort of like mousy blonde hair, and he'd got an SH-101 slung over his shoulder, and he was like really into it. And I thought, that's what I need. I need one of those. I need one I can sling it over my shoulder, and I don't have to sit behind a bank of keyboards. I can be out front. I can be the famous rock star. And still to this day, I do not own a genuine SH-101. I have the Behringer version. And when I did the video, I did a comparison video of the SH-101 and the Behringer one. And our friend Simon Alexander lent me a genuine red SH-101 with the original mod grip, the original Roland guitar strap, and the original Roland soft case. And I seriously thought about unfriending Simon and just running away with it. No, I didn't really, but I did have to set the camera up and take a picture of myself as that young boy. Nobody's going to see it, but it's on my phone.
I want to see it.
No. Maybe somebody who works at Apple can hack my iCloud.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I missed out on a Polymoog I missed out on a Polymoog. Yeah, I know.
Oh, lucky you.
It was 1,500 quid about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't really need one, even though like the price was really good. I thought,
We only want it for one sound, though, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Not all of them have that sound either.
No, exactly.
To
Yes.
get the 280.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I bet mine wouldn't have done. I'd been absolutely devastated.
Because I met somebody recently. It was the person I bought the QX1 from. Had is it 3 versions? Are there 3? Is it 3 versions? The 208, the 280, and wasn't there another? I can't remember. But he had all
There's
3.
the keyboard, the synthesizer, and there is a third.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's just got a different power supply in it.
Right. Okay.
There's nothing major.
Because one was like a preset machine. One was an actual thing that you could program, wasn't it? Because there was the Apollo, which was the prototype, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I did have the documentation that I got from a friend of mine of where you take one of the preset cards for the Polymoog with all the sliders and buttons on it, and what resistors you change to get the Vox Humana sound that you can't get on the Polymoog synthesizer, and then you just literally plug it in, put the 2 screws in, and you got Vox Humana on a button.
So I just want to give a shout out to Jareth Lackey, who seems to have mastered that one.
Yeah.
And he takes the other ones that don't have Vox Humana and adds it, and it sounds like identical.
Yeah.
It is a special sound, isn't it? But unfortunately it's one of those sounds. It's it's like it's like the brass from the CS80. It's kind of it's Newman, isn't it? I mean, anybody tries to use that, and you're trying to be Newman. You can't avoid it.
I've tried to use them in a different way, but it doesn't. It always sounds like Newman.
It always sounds like you eventually start going. You can't help yourself.
Yeah. And you always want to throw in a really strange note, don't you? Just because it is that sound, It's no good playing something completely straight. You've got to throw something augmented in there, like
that's it.
Yeah.
How about you, Ken? Anything slip through your fingers that you wish you'd gripped tighter?
Memory Moog Plus. The bloke decided. He says that this thing's never going to work. Do you want it for parts and spares and stuff like that? I mean, and he says, look, I only want about, he said, give me $1,000 for it. And I mean, this is when they're fetching 10, and I went, yeah, well, look, let me have one more look at it anyway. And I went and bloody fixed it. So finally, I go, no, I've fixed it, mate. Sorry, I can't buy it off you. Yeah, so that'll be $650. Thank you.
Instead of the £9,000 I could have got selling it.
Yeah.
Can't think.
Couldn't fix it like a year from now. No, I have to do it now. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm just trying to think. I don't think I've ever been close to getting something that I really wanted and then let it slip through my fingers. I've just never been close. It's like I've never been close to buying an emulator 2, which I desperately want. I really want one of those.
Not an emulator 1.
Well, do you know,
Please,
at the right price, I'd happily take that emulator 1 off your hands. But
why not Richard tomorrow? Make him an offer. Because I want it out of my bloody bedroom.
Will that do?
Yeah. I tell you what, you can have it for nothing, mate. If it was up to me, just come and get the bloody thing. There's about 200 disc library with it. It's mental.
Yes, yeah, it has got a big library. That one.
Yeah, got a big. Well, it's also got the Whatnot thingy on it as well.
The Lotharek drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't think of anything that I've ever got close to owning and that slipped through my fingers. I've either just gone and bought it and regretted it later. I've sold stuff. Every time I see, this is odd. Every time I see a CS1X, I get a little wistful because I sold mine. That was like my first proper keyboard synth. Everything else had either been controllers and boxes or other stuff. And I always regretted selling my VSS 200, my little Yamaha sampler, but then I found one on Facebook for about 30 quid, so I went and bought that back.
I sold my fully working CS80 for 175 quid.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Oh, can't.
What about you and your Jupiter 8? You missed out on the Jupiter 8, didn't you?
Who?
You?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Not Jupiter
maybe
8.
Maybe I'm getting you mixed up with someone else.
Most of my misses have been Moog.
Yeah. Do you know, as much as I respect the, it's like BMW. As much as I respect the brand, there's never been a Moog that's appealed to me.
Really?
Yeah. I've never thought I really want a Moog, something like that.
Not even a Mini.
Not even a Mini.
An RA, mind.
No,
No?
none of them.
No Musonics? No?
If I win that one, I'll be happy as a pig in the proverbial. But
Yeah, do you want me to restore the case for you?
yeah, I might do. When I win it,
Needs
of course.
restoring.
No, saying that, I'll probably go and win it. No,
Needs restoring.
no, it's never appealed to me. I'd much rather, there's a really good video actually at the moment. Dom Cigalis has just done another one of his Yamaha synth demos of the CS40M, which I thought I kind of prefer the M's. There's something about the M's that I really kind of like, especially the 70M. But yeah, the 40M is quite nice. I'd rather have one of those, I think. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
What's the closest you get to a GS1 card reader?
Well, quite, yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of the wood on these things is crazy.
Wood.
It's got wood.
It's not wood at all.
So, we've got a little announcement to make. It's a small thing, but we got a bit excited, didn't we, the other day, Ben?
We did.
Oh,
Tell the ladies and gentlemen.
It's hard to imagine right now, but we did, yeah.
We did. And we were on camera, and it was just you and me. And there was nobody else. Yeah. Go on, then. Tell everybody what we went and sorted out on Wednesday night.
We sorted out a trip for two, a romantic getaway for two, to Berlin for 3 days.
We're going to Super Booth, baby.
Yeah.
Pro Synth Network will be represented somehow, probably quite badly, by two drunken Englishmen. Because apparently,
carpets.
Yeah, well, apparently I've been told there's a really great riverboat thing, like a river taxi thing that goes from the hotel to the venue, and they serve very strong beer from 9 o'clock in the morning on this boat. Well, yeah. So it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, we're going to Super Booth. So if anybody is going to Super Booth, and if you want to meet me and Ben and buy us some more beer, we will be there, resplendent. Obviously, not like this. We'll have the Pro Synth Network stuff on. So by Saturday, we'll probably pong a little bit.
They'll be fishing you out of the Rhine, mate.
But yeah, fishing them out of the sewers every half an hour.
Yeah, every half an hour.
Got to get some python in there.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to me, though, Ben captured the moment that I. So it was funny because we decided to book each one, each thing together. So the first thing we did the flights. The flights went through no problem at all. Then we bought Ben's ticket. Because Ben, I've got a press pass, but Ben we had to buy him a ticket, so he bought his ticket. And then the final thing we booked was the hotel, and we had a bit of trouble because it wouldn't take our PayPal stuff. So eventually I had to put it through on the credit card, and as soon as it got accepted, Ben very sneakily took this picture on his computer. That was us.
Robbie looks more excited than I do.
So that was us at about 9 p.m. on Wednesday. So
you look like you've got a blockage.
Yeah.
I look like a ghost.
You did say, didn't you? You said you looked a bit pale there. Yeah, it's the light.
Really pale.
So we're going to Super Booth, and we're gonna have a great time. I cannot.
I'm not invited.
No, you were invited. You were. Don't do that. You make me feel bad, or more bad. Worse.
We wouldn't
bad.
be going if it wasn't for the the donations that
Well, exactly.
we get through the show.
So, this is not Throw Synth Network Jolly where me and Ben are spending all your donation money.
And any booze that we buy, we're paying for it out of our own pockets.
Absolutely.
It's
Which will be lined with Throw Synth
literally
Network money.
Or anybody you meet.
Yeah.
No, so we will be there. We will be taking photos and videos, and hopefully the plan is that Kent's going to run the show on the Friday.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah, it should be, because by the time the show goes on air, I think we're going to be at a party or something. So that will be fun. But we will be filming stuff and sticking that up onto the channel. And so hopefully there'll be some really cool stuff to show, some new stuff. I'm really looking forward to trying getting on with an Osmos. I want to play one of those. And just basically meeting up with all of our friends. So, yeah. We're going to Super Booth, baby!
Yes!
Are you going to anything, Allie, this year? Because NAMM's back on in April, isn't it?
I have no idea. Yes, NAMM is back in April. I was there last year and I met, for the first time, one of my absolute amazing #1 heroes, Tom Oberheim. I was very lucky.
Wow, yes.
So that was one of those we're not worthy moments.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
So nothing planned this year. I'll try and blag my way into NAMM again. I was very lucky last year. Actually, Rob Rosen sponsored me. He's very kind.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. This year I was at Simplex with Dina.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And we were doing the ARP stand there. So I had a blast at that as well.
Yeah, that looks like a really good show.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Any plans to come over to Europe for any shows over here?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I just want to get home for a bit, and if I'm home, I'll see what lines up with the schedule. And I'm in Germany a lot for business, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed.
Berlin in May. That's all I'm saying. Berlin in May.
Yeah.
Come and see us. Yeah, cool. So yeah, show season's kind of going to start getting underway very soon. We've got Synth East here in Norwich next month. Then we've got Super Booth in May. There's Synthfest UK. There's Synthesized in Cambridge. And this is just like the local stuff. Then, of course, you've got NAMM in April. Next year, NAMM's going back to January, so I'm told. So if you're looking for a slightly warmer NAMM, this is the year. And that's the one I really want to go. I've always wanted to go to NAMM, but it's that kind of step too far. But maybe next year, we start with Super Booth. Maybe next year. Next year is NAMM. We shall see. So we're going to. But if you want to come to Super Booth, of course, then tickets are available now. I think it's about €39 for a day pass, and then €99 or €98, should I say, for. So I'm just padding here while I get the screen up. There we go. So yeah, €98 for the 3 days: the Thursday, the 11th, and then the Friday and the Saturday after that. So yeah, you can get onto pre-sale tickets there. If there are any tickets left over, you can buy them on the door. But of course, if you're coming out from outside of Berlin, I wouldn't recommend that at all, because you don't want to get there and not be able to get in. Superbooth.com is the website address, and there are going to be loads of great people there, loads of great manufacturers, developers, artists, and some odd YouTubers as well, bringing up the rear. So yeah, fantastic. If you are going to be there, come and say hi. We'd love to meet you. I need to get some business cards printed as well, so we can do that thing, just leave our business cards everywhere.
Yes.
And then get loads of really dodgy emails. Right, so that's Super Booth, and that's Eric's GS1, and we've done that, and we've done that, and we've done that. That only kind of leaves us with. I'm going to do this, and then we're going to come back to Ali, sort of like for the last sort of 20 minutes or so. But I did want to mention this because in the world of electronic music, there aren't many artists who have been going pretty much as long as popular electronic music, and I use that term to mean pop music, has been around. But this band have been there pretty much from day one, and it is, of course, the mighty Depeche Mode are back with a brand new single that dropped yesterday called Ghosts Again from their new album Memento Mori. And it's not bad. Have you heard? Ali, you've heard it. You reckon it's a bit of a banger?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's harking back to a different era, slightly different era, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I thought it sounded a bit like Playing the Angel era. So we're talking, 20 years ago? I don't know. It's got something about it it's kind of looking back. And of course, this is the first album without Fletch, of course, since his untimely passing. And the whole concept of the album, Memento Mori, is remember that we will die. So it's kind of sort of semi-prophetic. But they've been working on this album since September 2020. So since during lockdown, which pretty much everyone else did. And can't wait to see them. Are you going to see them at all, Ali? Because they've just announced some US dates.
I would see. I didn't even know they were here. So
just the other day, I think they announced some dates.
If they're here in the Bay Area, I'll definitely go. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool stuff. When they announced their first UK dates, the one they're not actually doing London, they're doing Twickenham of all places. And it's on the same night as I'm seeing Pet Shop Boys. So can't do both. So hopefully they'll come back for a second leg. But Kent, Ben, have you heard the new single? Are you excited about it, or are you rather nonplussed?
I haven't heard it yet.
No.
I have. I listened to it before, and I really enjoyed it. It was a bit of a I don't know. It was a bit of a grower as it goes on. It like a song like sometimes gets you on like third, fourth listen. This actually gets you while you're listening to the song.
Yeah,
you're pretty unimpressed early on, and then as it's going on, you think and as more instruments get added to the arrangement and it pads out a bit, you start thinking this is quality. Again, and it's really good, and it led to me going on down a bit of a Depeche Mode rabbit hole, with things following on YouTube, and I watched the interview with Dave Garn talking about the new album and talking about the sad passing of Fletch. And it was quite interesting. It was really interesting. They said he openly admitted that Fletch didn't do that much musically on stage, like we all knew anyway. But
worst kept secret,
he was saying like his influence was incredible, and even his stage presence was like, you get people like saying, I can't stop watching the guy on the right,
I know,
just been focused on him all through the gig. So saying about the world tour is going to feel really quite different without him there, but and the album like kind of theme and title and that, it's just purely coincidental. It's just happened to become extremely relevant and significant.
Same production team, I believe, as Spirit. So that's James, I can't remember his surname, and Marta Salong, the lady who I absolutely now regret missing at Synthfest a few years ago. She was on, I think she was on after me, and that's why I didn't see it, because I was like busy taking everything else back into the hall. But she does these wonderful things with tape loops, and it's just brilliant. Really, really good. So I'm looking forward to the album. 24th of March, 26th of March, end of March. So the album's coming soon. My one gripe, if you haven't bought the album yet, steel yourself, because the prices are a little bit extortionate. They want £45 for the vinyl, and it's a two disc pack, but side D is an etching. So basically, they put 4 tracks on 3 sides when they could have probably got 6 on one disc, 6 on each side. So they kind of milked it, and even the deluxe CD, like the CD is like $17.99. The deluxe CD is $24.99. Same album, same songs, just a few extra pictures, and in one of those kind of case-bound cases rather than just like a jewel case. It's
They've been talking to Teenage Engineering, haven't
They
they?
have. So. And there was a bit of a kerfuffle, wasn't there? Because I think we might have mentioned it, that there was a countdown to the single. Well, there was a countdown announced like last week, and it ran out on Friday, last Friday, and everybody thought, oh, we're going to get the new single, and then actually the countdown was for another countdown to this Thursday when the actual single did come out.
Okay.
Very odd, but there you go. I guess when you've been in the business that long, who cares? You can get away with it, can't you? Bless them. Anyway, Depeche Mode, they are back. If you haven't gone, I'd love to play a clip, but we'd get hammered. So go to Depeche Mode's YouTube channel, and you can watch the video, which is a very dark, typically Anton Corbijn type video, black and white, playing chess on top of a skyscraper. Okay, I'm sure it means something. Thank you, David Surchek, for your $4.99. Much appreciated. Thank you very, very much indeed. So that was that. Let's bring up this website because it pertains to our esteemed guest tonight. This is the Synthetic Dreamscapes website, which Allie, said before that we came on there, hasn't been updated for like how long?
A couple of years.
But it's still good. It's got some great pictures of gear in there. But there's a great section about, there's some really great photos in there as well. But, there's a bit about your story, about your son, and, of course, Gracie as well.
It's my quality manager.
There you go. Absolutely. Every synthesizer needs a cat as long as they don't wee in it.
She stands over everything we do. What can I say?
Quality control at its finest. There's a great gallery in there, and there she is again. Look at that sweet thing. Look at that. Oh,
she's cute.
Yeah, and some really interesting gear. Look at that. Oh, look. There's an emulator one.
Number 10, actually.
Number 10.
Still in my garage. I got it working, and then the power supply literally went up in smoke, and I left it aside.
Dear. Now, look at those buttons from a B-52 bomber. Name that synth. Come on.
A Synclavier, isn't it?
That's a Synclavier,
Yeah.
Is that the VPK or the ORK?
It's the ORK. It's actually out in the garage up on the shelf as well, languishing next to the emulator.
How many people can say I've got an emulator one and a Synclavier language in the garage, eh? That's a rare thing. Well, I think two of them here. Yeah, two of them here. But Synthetic Dreamscapes, there's the website, and people can get in touch with you through that. So have you got any like really interesting rare bits of kit that's sort of lying around at the moment? Didn't you mention something about one of the very first samplers?
So I do. Actually, there's a handful of junk around here, but one of the things we just finished was the Publison DHM 89B2. If you know what that is, you know what that is. So it's basically a rack mount effects box that is ostensibly a sampler, and it takes a keyboard. We can connect a keyboard into the back of it. So we had one. We actually got one to repair about 6 months ago, and like it was bucketing down rain a few weekends back, and I just like cracked it open, looked inside, and was just horrified to see that all of the ICs that are in it have their ID numbers sanded off. So you're just looking at a big, huge grey sea of nothingness, and you've no idea where to start. So we actually did get it going. So there was a couple of op amps, TL084s, and a couple of 4066s that were gone in it, and a power supply problem, and it's fixed. So it's an unusual instrument. It's basically one of the early samplers. It was the precursor to the Infernal machine. And if you know what that is, you know what that is. It's quite an unusual beastie. But the inventor, Monsieur Petit Demange, made a big point of like sending off all the IDs, so like you wouldn't be able to copy his stuff.
Is that why? It was purely to stop people copying what he did?
I think so, because this, like back in the day, this was 1978.
Yeah.
And this thing is basically a sampler. You can loop, you can do pitch shifting and all that stuff in real time that like you really couldn't do back then to the same extent. So it's called a computer, but it has no microprocessor in it. It's purely a digital instrument with a big chunk of memory and very, very clever logic gates that glues it all together. It is really quite an amazingly designed instrument. So I think he was kind of, to keep it to himself.
Yeah.
So there's another shout out. There's one person, Jonathan Projet, who is the expert in those. So if you have a Publison that needs repairing, you go to Piscina Tokyo. He's the guy. He's an amazing guy.
Awesome. I was just trying to get a picture up here so that everyone could see. I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, this is the machine. Or
That's the one.
Yeah, there you go.
And double extra bonus points for having like yellow 7-segment displays in it. That just adds to the hardcore right there.
Wow. Yeah, so red buttons for red display, yellow buttons for yellow display.
Yeah. So it's split in two. It's entirely like two independent halves. So you can have stereo, pseudo stereo, or you can basically have an individual mono effects rack either side. So 2 channels completely independent, or you can mix and pseudo stereo. Wow. Beautiful instrument. Weighs a ton.
Awesome. So what was it actually designed to be out of the box? Was it designed to be like an effects processor, or was it designed? It wasn't designed to be an instrument, was it? Or was it?
I don't know. It's basically a digital delay.
Yeah.
It's a digital delay, and it's got, so if you can imagine like delay, pitch shift, and it'll do sort of phasing, but the idea, and reverse and stuff like that, and real-time pitch shift. So it's people started to appropriate it as a sampler. Like it'll sample a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And it has that kind of feel to it that feels like an analog tape loop type of instrument. So you can turn the knobs in real time and it'll do crazy things with the pitch, very much like a space echo.
Wow.
So there you are.
And you said you can connect a keyboard to it. How are you connect? Because obviously this predates MIDI. So is it just how is it connected?
The keyboard itself was called I think it's called a K1000 or something, and it has a proprietary bus on the back. So there's a very kind of like the PPG bus. It's kind of like a Centronic speaker, and you connect the keyboard up to that, and you can actually it's just a beautiful instrument with the keyboard. It's got LEDs on the front, and it's got bar graphs.
So obviously they understood. The manufacturer understood that this could be something that could be used as an instrument, and developed a keyboard specifically for it.
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Way ahead of its time. That was
Well, if that's 78, it's a year before the CMI hit the shops, or probably a little bit more, because I mean CMI didn't come out till November of 79, and they weren't selling any. I mean, the one that came out in 79 was the one that got flown out to LA. It was the one that Stevie Wonder says, I want that, and I'll place my order now, and I'm keeping this one until you send me my one. And that was that was number one. Of course, Stevie has like number one of pretty much everything, doesn't he? Lucky sod. Ah, dear. So wow, that's cool. Anything else that you've got that's sat in there that's really super interesting?
I do. I have a few. The Mulogics in the back here is serial number WC002. Ooh. Now, they only made 25 of them, so I don't know the provenance of that one, but I do know that a certain individual had 3 of them and got one of the first of the 3 of those, no names. So I don't know. I do have the first Synergy ever made. It was in Martin Newcomb's museum in the UK, and it somehow swam the Atlantic and ended up in LA. And we picked it up about 3 or 4 years ago. It needs extensive work to get it going, but we will get it going. It's at the bottom of the queue because it's my own, so it doesn't get any joy. Yeah. But we will have the first Synergy ever made, and I believe it's the one they showed at NAMM. So we do have that. And then one other thing, because Dina mentioned it in the chat, is this really odd beastie here. So this is
what's that?
So this is called Sound Instrument Sonica.
Okay.
And Dina played one when she was here last a few weeks ago. So they made about 600 of these things. It was invented by a guy called Frankie Ventoff, who invented the force sensitive resistor, the FSR, which is the same sensors used in the Prophet VS Aftertouch. It's kind of like a pressure sensor. So this thing exists because it's got a whole load of pressure sensors here and 3 here. And the guy was looking for a platform to test out this technology, so he invented this thing. So,
Wow.
and
Oh, that's like a pitch bend.
yeah, there's a kind of half note, a half tone here, and then it changes the sharpness, and this one is the pitch bend.
It's a bit like the Odyssey PPC, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So the thing about this one is the oscillator in it is a surge oscillator.
Wow.
I think we all heard of that guy. So single VCO, like really simple. And
Awesome stuff.
there's not a whole lot of them, but there was a rumor that I think it was Donna Summer had a kind of an orchestra of Sonicas at one point in time that she would tour with.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
Amazing stuff. Yeah, I was going to say, Wagyu said in the chat, it's almost like one of those automatones. Oh no, sorry, wrong thing. Where are we? There we go. Which are these kind of weird looking things with the strip that goes. It looks like you blow in it, but you don't, which is very odd. Yeah, what a thing! What an amazing thing. You were telling me about your. So I'm going to indulge myself in it. Behind you, you've got your wave term, and that's. Did you say it was a B? But it's. You're going to do something with it that a lot of people think can't be done, but can be done.
So it's a Waveterm B. It's been retrofitted I got a board from a guy in Europe who basically cloned the B board. So it is a Waveterm B. The problem with these is like they either come with like 8-inch drives or 5 1/4-inch drives, and you know they're finicky and difficult to boot and all that. But I do have a derivative of the like a GoTech, but it's been tweaked a bit, and I can get it to boot off a flash stick. So
Nice.
that thing will boot off a USB drive, and it'll come up as a Waveterm. And we have the wave here in the background. That's shout out to Bob Coover from Groove Synthesis. That's his instrument. He's got mine. So the three of them are hooked together as a system.
Nice.
Wow.
So come on then, be honest. I know Bob's your friend, but
Yeah.
third wave or PPG, which would you take on your desert island?
Well, do you know what? Like, I kind of fell in love with the PPG sound the same time as everybody else did. It was like back in the Speak and Spell days when Depeche Mode came out and they started using a wave. And then I discovered Tangerine Dream and like Exit and all of that good stuff. So I spent 35 years trying to find a PPG wave, and I did. I found one in Canada, broken, of course, and I got a bit of help repairing it because I was able to do most of the work, but getting the pros board working, Bob Grieve actually did that. It was very kind of him. So I got some help, and then I had a PPG Wave 2.3, and it was absolutely glorious. And then this guy called Bob Coover came along, and I met him in NAM as well. He had the instrument in NAM. I have one here on the floor, number 13. So I had an early prototype of the third wave.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not going to lie, it's identical to a wave in terms sonically, but that's not where it stops.
No.
It's got a multi-mode filter. It's got multi-part. It's got 24 voices. It's got the capability, and this is the thing the wave does too, but it's really hard to do. It's the capability of sampling a wave and then breaking it down and doing all of the compute on it that is so difficult to do. It just does all that. So the answer, and I swore I'd never say this, but the answer to this is I would actually go with the third wave.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really, I know it does everything. It sounds. Do you want like a glitchy digital imaging digital synth with all of the artifacts? There it is. Turn another knob and it does pure smooth interpolation between the wavetables. It's like it's got everything. It's got everything. I love it. So big fan of Bob Coover, of course. He's a buddy, but at the same time, this instrument is like ridiculous. You know, oh my goodness. So I sell my wave. Yes, damn it.
I got 20 quid. It. No, awesome stuff. I mean,
Steady on there. That's a bit rich.
I'm a huge fan of the wave and the sound. And the best that I can muster at the moment is the plug-in, which I'm told is pretty good compared to to the hardware. But the only time I've ever actually sort of touched and played with one was at a show here in Cambridge a few years ago, and it was the Stock Aitken and Waterman machine that had been rescued by a guy from Liverpool and restored, and it was the 2.3. It had this wave term, which was, he called it a wave term A-B because it was kind of part A, part B. It was kind of like a transitional version, he said. I think it was a wave term A, but it had 5.25-inch floppies. So there was some kind of crossover going. I don't know. And then he had the big processor keyboard as well, and it was all working. And in the pile of discs that came with the machine was the sequence and the sound for the bass line of You Spin Me Round. And it's just, oh my God, it's that sound. As soon as you played that sound, it was just like, wow, stunning stuff. Yeah, but I desperately want a third wave. I really do. And an S2400 and a Prophet 10 and an AVX8. But yeah, we'll stop there. Excellent. Right, I think that's we're kind of wrapping towards the end of the show now. Let's see if we've got any more questions. Oh, apparently the reason there's a chessboard in the new Depeche Mode video is because Fletch loved chess, so it was a nod to him. There we go. What do I know? Thank you, Matt, because Matt is a super. He's already had Memento Mori tattooed on his forearm there. Thank you again to, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. Is it Thane? I'm sure it means something, and I probably got it horribly wrong. But listen, thank you for your $10 donation. It is gratefully received. By the way, can I just say, having watched the news tonight, if you are able to spare any money for the Disasters and Emergency Committee fund for the earthquake victims in Turkey and Syria, please do slip them a few quid. I'd rather you slip them a few quid this week than us. It's just kind of tragic what's going on out there. So yeah, please do some of that. But what have you got lined up on the workbench next, Ali? What's kind of next in the queue? So
Eric Norlander's in the chat, so I have to tell. He's making me say this, so I have. Next up is the Elka Synthex. It's getting a Parse Play upgrade from the amazing Andre at Syntronics. So he's got one he's working on. So there's that. There's the our Quadra, the two Shinko Adonis, the Brandon Rogers Cork Trident, because I know he's on the channel too, so I have to give him a shout out. What else? 909, Synthex, OB8, Moog Sonic 6. That's in the queue, and Jupiter 6. Am I forgetting anybody?
Sounds like you got your work cut out for sure.
I do.
She told me she was working on that SH09 next.
I know I'm forgetting somebody, and I'm going to get into trouble.
Yeah.
Kent, have you got what's next? Because you've got a similar backlog of stuff. What's next up for you in the workshop?
This weekend I have finished the Matrix Expander, finished the Matrix 12, a CS80, a Selena ensemble synthesizer, which isn't like a Selena at all by any stretch, a DX7 Mark I, and 4 Jupiter 8s, and what was the other thingy? Oh, what was the other thing? Because if I forget it, the bloke will kill me on Monday. What was it? There's a 10th thing. What is it? Oh, it's Prophet 10.
OG Prophet 10. Like, the double manual.
The one that you can't pick up and walk around with.
No. Quite. Wow.
It's a right old pain in the bum. So there's that, which I have to try and get as much of that done by Monday night. as humanly possible because I've got 2 CS80s coming in next week.
Another 2?
Yeah, another 2. And the 2 that are up at Soundgas looks like they're coming down to me as well because I can't get them to go. Can't get them working.
If you need to store any of those CS80s anywhere, I'll take the hit for you.
I tell you what, the actual
Noble.
state they're in, it wouldn't be any good to you whatsoever. It would just be somewhere for the dust to settle.
Very noble of you. Very noble.
Yeah,
Yes.
but if you want to store them, yeah.
I like to help out where I can.
Oh yeah, well there you go. There you go.
I don't know which one of you between Ali and Kent will want to take this job on, but apparently Eric's looking for a repair to his field table.
Yeah, actually, I can squeeze that in, but it'll cost you some. What do you reckon, Ali? Between 20-25 grand, something like that.
Per day. Come on, in fairness.
Well, then, no, I'm talking hourly rate. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got to speak the language. We've got to speak the language.
And Derek as well, so we're going to have to double the price on that one.
I'll take the GS1 off him, because he needs.
Well,
to
no,
do-
he swapped the GS1 for the field table, didn't he? That's what he said in the
did
chat
he?
earlier. Yeah.
You
Oh,
take
no,
the-
yeah.
I'm not interested in doing it then.
No.
And it's weird. I've got one of those Publisons out in the garage with the keyboard.
What?
And yeah,
Oh.
when you took the lid off and it went, "Oh, you bastards. You
That's
absolute
exactly it.
feckin' Egypts," which you'll know. Yeah. Bugger.
That's exactly it.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah. You need to go, oh, God, I've got to desolder the ICs and put them into the chip checker to find out what they bloody are.
Is
And
that
if
how
it
you
doesn't
did it,
work,
Ali?
and if they don't work, how do you know what they are?
I was going to say, I mean, how did you determine, if you've got, everything's been filed down, how do you determine what each component is? Is it a case of just testing it?
So actually, I got a few hints from somebody who had hand drawn some of the component placement, and it turns out that this is silly. It turns out that like a lot of them have the same form factor. So if you understand that there's a TL084 over here and a 4051 over here, then that other unknown chip with almost the same physical characteristics, almost certainly the same one. Or 7474 or something like that. So oddly enough, the guy was very smart, but he's too smart for his own good in that, like a lot of the chips, like you could take them out and then on the upside down part of it, it actually says the part number on some of them. So I got lucky on some. I have the what you call them, BK Precision digital analog test devices here.
Yeah.
I'll be lost without those, and I was able to determine that there's a couple of 4066. Any of those analog 4000 series analog switches tend to be bad. They tend to go out. The 4051s, Kent, this they drop like flies. So
Yeah.
you see those, like you get them gone, especially the RCA ones. So you get to start. So when I started pulling the ICs out, they're fortunately all socketed, and one or two of them actually had bent pins from the factory. And I'm pretty sure they were going intermittent as well. So some tested bad, some weren't fitted properly in the first place.
Yeah.
And the power supply was like on its last legs. So fixed all that lot, and what do you know, came right up.
Wow.
So
Awesome stuff.
combination of just sleuthery and luck.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, well done. Did you take notes though? Have you now got
Yes.
there you go. So
Yeah.
in the future, you know where to go with your Publisons.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff.
Although I'm not in a hurry to see the next one.
No, I
Yeah.
bet. I bet. Ben, you said you've got a bit of a break from gigs. Have you got anything coming up this weekend or soon?
No. But I think one of the other band members went away somewhere, and so we've kept this
Solo
free.
project.
Maybe it's the guy. I think it's the guy who does robotics, so it's going to be a bit strange.
That'd be odd.
So we're just having some time off. We're going to work on a couple of things, but I'm off work next week because,
it's half
like I
term,
said, it's Vicky's birthday, so we're kind of just chilling out for the week, and she's getting loads of gifts.
Nice. Well, no, good. Well, send her our best on the special day. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. What you do need to do is to start practicing your packing for Berlin, because we're flying Ryanair, so it's going to have to be, compact. under the seat jobs. So yeah,
Well, I'm gonna put all of my stuff in my parachute. That's basically
The parachute's extra.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I've never flown. I've never flown Ryanair in my life, mostly on principle because I think the guy's an arse. But it was kind of like my only option, or the cheapest option. I've gone to Berlin, but I went from where did I go from? Gatwick, I think it was. But that was the British Airways. It was about
Well, you
3
say it's
times
the
price.
cheapest option until you get there and you go, oh, you're going to be wearing shoes. That's another £5.
Well, we found this, didn't we, Ben? It's like, we found the ticket. It was like £25 each way. That's nice. And then it's another £25 each way if you want to take a carry-on bag. They want to sell us insurance for this and that for that. And do you need to go to the toilet? Well, you'll need to buy that. And there's all this kind of... And by the time we got through, that £25 each way had quadrupled almost. It was...
You want to be sitting? That's another £25.
I know. Crazy.
You want oxygen? You want to be able to breathe? Oh, that's another £25. Yeah.
But it's only an hour and 40 minutes. So, by the time you're up, you're starting to come down again.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad. Carl Bedford says, "See you at Super Booth." We will. And can I just? I'm going to put this out there now, and I'll probably put it out in the preceding weeks. Is if you come up to us and say, "Hi Rob, hi Ben," and we go, "Hi," it's because you see us every week, but we don't see you, so we have no idea what you look like. So wear a name badge. Or just say, "Hi Ben, hi Rob, I am Carl Bedford," for example, and then we'll go, "Oh, of course, you're that guy."
Well, no, what we should do is if somebody comes up to you and say, "Hi Rob, hi Ben," and then they got to say the magic phrase.
Oh yeah.
And if they get it correct, they have to buy you a beer.
We're quite generous. Even if they get it wrong, they can still win the prize. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Which is
you've
buying us
got
a
to
beer.
keep up a certain amount of jeopardy. Come on.
That'd be So because it's something that happens to me, like at Synthfest. People come up to me and I go, "Oh, hello." And then they most of them will introduce themselves. I think didn't I say? I don't think he's in the chat today. Simon Greatbatch. He was with a friend of mine called Anton, who I know. I know Anton, but and he looked a bit like somebody else I know, and I called him by this name, and he said, "No, I'm Simon." I'm going, "Oh, of course you are." So please do tell us who you are when you approach us, and you'll have beers in hands, I'm sure, to give to us. It's going to be backpack packing Jenga practice for the next
You're
few
going to
weeks.
need one of those teenage engineering tables to put all the beers on.
Yes,
That's what it's for, clearly.
Fold up into the back. Anyway, so that's what everyone's doing this weekend. I'm going shopping apparently. Being dragged into Norwich to go shopping with all the kids, all of them, even the ones that have left home.
Yeah, it's a day out, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I should be going around record shops and stuff. I was going to say, oh yes, next week's guest. Have we told everyone who's next week's guest is? We're continuing the Irish theme.
Oh.
You might know him as BG Ollie, the man who plays video game theme tunes on a banjo. He also restores arcade machines. He also restores and builds computers and synthesizers too.
Oh.
And he's a fellow Yamaha DX fan as well. And he's got the most gorgeous voice. In fact, I would. If it's just that voice is just incredible. Because he's originally from France, but he's lived near Galway for like 30 years. So you two probably cross paths at some point. And he's got the most gorgeous voice, and he's the most lovely man. And his name is Ollie Long, and he's going to be on this show next week. And he said to me, "I'm not very kind of synthesizer. I'm more like video games." I said, "No, you are. You're a synth person." So yeah, but I just want everyone to hear his voice because it's just amazing. So Ollie will be on the
voice, isn't it?
It's just
I want to hear him like shout at the top of his voice, "Feck arse!" like that, just once.
But it's also got that little bit of French in there, which just makes it so mysterious. It's just.
It's very
arousing. The beginning to this year has been very Irish for me because I watched the Banshees of Inisherin a few weeks ago, and I just love that film. and I've been watching all of these because I watched, there was a featurette thing on YouTube, and so YouTube has been saying, oh, you want to watch this with Colin Farrell, and you want to watch this with Brendan Gleeson, and so I've been doing all of that just lately. So yes, Ollie will be on the show next week, and really, really looking forward to it. But of course, Ali, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and do come back.
Yeah, it's been really nice. It's been really nice.
You all actually. I'm super nervous.
Oh gosh, don't be. We're all friends here. Look, now you've broken your duck. You must come back on again soon. Anytime you want to come on, just let us know, or we'll pester you. But it's absolutely fantastic to see you. Thank you ever so much, Allie Cassidy. Everyone, give her a round of applause. Synthetic Dreamscapes is the website, syntheticdreamscapes.com. Also on Instagram, very active on Instagram, so go and check Allie's work there as well. And if you are in the Bay Area or Cupertino, San Francisco, Northern California, then we don't need to go anywhere else. And if you need us to hook you up, please do. Thank you to Andy Synth Addict in the chat for doing the moderation in the chat room. Thank you all to everyone that's watched the show and left comments. Thank you to everyone that's left donations. A wonderful comment here from David Serchek. Be kind to yourself and remember how beautiful you are. Absolutely couldn't agree more. Brad in the chat, I am going to hunt you down, my friend. We're going to get you on the show for sure. And anyone else, if you think of someone you'd like to see on the show, let us know. You never know, or put us in touch if you know who they are, and we'll gladly have them on the show and talk to you lot. So there we go. We'll be back same time, same place next week, 7 p.m. UK time on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Hit that thumb button now, because apparently if you hit it during the show it makes some sort of difference. But we'll be back next week, and take care everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.